Generally, I think what we've tried to do is make an overview of kind of what's happening in London at the moment. We both know a lot of artists, and we've kind of tried to pull together all the disparate elements, little key elements, to create, I think somebody yesterday called it sort of playful but mature.
The idea was to kind of try and create a marvellous mix-up of all the different narratives that we have come across with the artists that we work with. Generally, Big Deal has somewhat represented a certain group, a certain aesthetic, maybe a certain approach to work, and also conceptually and content-wise, I tend to look at certain aspects or themes that are threading through the beginning of this project. So this is a kind of a nice piece of vinyl, you know, it's all loads of pieces of vinyl that get mixed up together in this beautiful show. This is a non-gallery driven project. It's site-specific. It is always a different venue, a new venue, and it's exciting to be working in this format. I don't work in it very often. It's kind of quite exciting to sort of get to grips with it, because the challenges here that we don't have in clean gallery spaces per se, you know, it's a slightly different challenge visually for artists to build something into the space and work with it. And I think that's the value of this project.
There's a lot of pieces here that are made from found items, found objects. So I guess the aesthetic there really is to do with all of that we're surrounded with, what we're making use of and how we perceive it.
Hi, my name is Martin Sexton, and this is my film installation Cognitive Dissonance, which is a UFO film. It's about a large series of futiques that I make. And a futique is a collectible work of the future, and I define a futique as being something that's seemingly made in the past. This film is 95 and 1973 split screened, witnessed in the present, but reveals an object or portent from the future, in which case a UFO and also a message from the occupants of the UFO who have appeared before 92 school children in South Africa who witnessed the event, and they're being interviewed by the head of child psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, who reaches some remarkable conclusions. And it's split screened with the UFO I filmed above the Temple of the Owls in Quintaru in Mexico. And it's an immersive film. It has a soundtrack by Gavin Bryars, and it's meant to really posit more questions than it provides answers for.
I was asked to contribute something along the lines, loosely based on the lines of retail and commercialism, and this piece of work is part of a larger body of work entitled Lipophrenia, which is a term basically emanating a vague sense of loss or unease about an environment that you may or may not have been familiar with. As you can see, this is kind of an unfurling or unfolding kitchen sink drama, so I figured that was kind of appropriate.
I just thought about base elements, and almost it is an antithesis of consumerism. They could be considered as found objects, but they're actually made objects, so they're very considered objects, and there's a lot of detail which the viewer can read.
I'm kind of interested in precarity, the sort of precarity of environments, how quickly things change, particularly in an urban setting. London at the moment is going through a massive transformation, so what my work tries to do is address that. So I use found objects, and quite often, as with these pieces here, I will go to a location. I did the same in Venice last year. I like the idea of things being moved around on these pallets, on these objects, travelling, and then for a brief period of time they become something. They become a piece of art. They become something which is other to their normal purpose. Then when the show finishes, I dismantle them and they go back into the fabric of the city, and they're gone again. They no longer are. They just become these odd things with strange markings that people once again pile bricks onto and off they go. This building is a building in transition for a period of time. Again, it becomes something else before it goes on to its other purpose. So we're all gathered here under that aegis, if you like.
Well, I've exhibited a photographic image here which has got certainly a sense of ambiguity attached to it, as an image of somebody in a gas mask and covered in a piece of cloth. And generally my work evolves around recycling of images that I've taken over a period of time and then placing them in context that is appropriate for the moment. In this case, this photograph was taken some 20 years ago at a big rave in Germany. However, it sort of evokes some other ideas and thoughts, you know, when you see it, or terrorism, wars, pollution, etc., etc. So in that sense, it's a singular image that it presents in this show, possibly a state we find ourselves in. Maybe you can talk about the amount of art that we consume now is overwhelming and oppressive. You can talk about other things being overwhelming and oppressive. So in a sense, that image would metaphorically try to distribute or pass on that idea to the viewer.